The 2014 Lexus IS350, is it just an over-styled sports sedan, or can it actually live up to this styling? Let's take a look and find out. Like I said, this example here is a 2014 Lexus IS350 with the F-Sport trim. It is coated in this beautiful nebula gray exterior. So, without any further ado, we'll go ahead and unlock it, start it up, and take a look at the interior and exterior, and take it on a test drive. Here's the key for the vehicle. It's Lexus's updated smart key system. You can either use the key, or you can come up to the door, tap once on this little ridge to lock it, and reach behind the handle to unlock. And this one does have the black leatherette interior, and it is leatherette because this is the F-Sport package. Real leather is not an option on the F-Sport package, but honestly you would never know it. So in order to start the vehicle in typical smart key fashion, just keep your foot on the brake, and then it'll tell you to depress the brake pedal and push the engine switch to start. So what you're hearing is Toyota's 3.5 liter V6, super solid engine. Let's go ahead and turn on the LED headlamps as well as the hazards, and we'll check out the exterior. And it does have an automatic up and down driver's side window. Now, had I left the keys outside the vehicle with me, the exterior of the car would have chimed a couple times. But again, what you're seeing is just a beautiful car from Lexus. In my opinion, whenever the 2014 IS was announced, I really was not a fan of the way it looked. I thought it looked like a really derpy fish or something with that new front end, but after seeing them in person, I just can't get enough of it. It is such a pretty car. So like I said, you do have your adaptive LED headlamps. This one does have LED turn signal bulbs. This one also has the signature IS, almost Nike swoosh-like LED running lights. You do have real brake cooling ducts right here. Coming around to the front, you do have the signature F-Sport grille. It is set apart from the regular IS, and the regular IS just has chrome bars going all the way across. Like I said, LED turn signals. Coming to the front wheels on this one does have a set of, let's see, what size are these? 225/40 R18 Bridgestone Potenza RE760 summer tires. Really good tire on this car, and the wheels are absolutely gorgeous. This one, even covered in brake dust, is still a very pretty rim. You have your F-Sport badge right here. Coming around to the mirror, you do have your LED turn signal. A very nice touch on the mirror, I have to say. You do have your blind spot warning integrated into the mirror as well. Smart key access on the passenger door. You do have a little rock shield right here, which is very nice to have, seeing as how the rear haunches of the car kind of flare out, and you can see where it actually has done its job once right there. And as far as the rear wheels on this car, it is a 255/35 R18, same Bridgestone Potenza tires. It is a staggered setup, and probably I hate to say this is my favorite part of the car because the whole thing is just beautiful, but this character line running right here is absolutely fantastic. Such a pretty car. This one also has LED turn signals. They normally don't come with that, but the owner of this one has swapped some LED bulbs in there. You do have your dual chrome polished exhaust outlets as well as your rear reflectors there. This one does have LED plate lights, and there are LED reversing lamps in there. Lexus badge right here, IS350 down there. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior and check out what really makes this a phenomenal car. And that really is the interior. Go ahead and roll up the window, kill the headlamps, and kill the hazards as well. So here, coming to the center stack, you do have your Lexus Inform system. It is absolutely a phenomenal system to use. It is a little bit redundant in areas, and I'll go over that here in just a minute. But you can see you do have your navigation screen. This is not a touch screen on the IS because it is set so far back. But if you just use your Lexus controller right here, it's very intuitive. It kind of hangs up on the buttons that are available on each screen. You have climate control here. You also have climate controls here as well. And that is a little bit redundant, but I mean, they did that just, you know, I'm not really sure why, but they did, and that's part of it. You as far as your climate controls go right here, You can either slide on the dial right here, or you can use the, you can just tap up and down for the temperature. Completely up to you. You also have your fan speed right here, dual zone automatic. Again, your hazard controls. This one does have the upgraded Mark Levinson sound system, which unfortunately I'm not able to demonstrate, but does sound absolutely phenomenal. It is an incredible sounding stereo system. One way to distinguish a car with the Mark Levinson is obviously the Mark Levinson badge right here, but if they have the satin silver volume and tune knobs, then you know that it has the Mark Levinson stereo. Coming down, you do have a little slot for your SD card, your micro SD card. Heated seats right here. Cooled seats were an added option for 2015 and 16, but the 14 was only available with heated seats. Here's your shifter for your Isin 8-speed automatic transmission. It is a phenomenal transmission. Lexus really knew what they were doing when they picked this one. You also have manual shiftability right here. Shift up, shift down. It is actually backwards. This should be downshift and should be upshift that way. But once you get used to it, it's not a big deal at all. And once you put the vehicle in reverse, you can see that you do have a reverse backup camera. Very nice quality camera as well. One of the nicest touches on this interior, I think, is just the design of this center stack right here. I love the Lexus clock. I love the how slanted this is and driver oriented this car is. Everything just feels very, very geared towards the driver. Moving on down, you do have your Lexus remote touch controller. I believe that's what it's called. You can control climate, nav, your Lexus app suite, and vehicle info, vehicle setup, your phone, media, radio. Just a very intuitive system to use overall. It does take some getting used to, but I like it. It's not bad at all. I've heard people complain about it and say it's fiddly, but you know, everything's fiddly until you get used to it, so it's all just a matter of opinion. I think it's completely fine though. Here is your drive mode selector. You can turn it this way for economy mode, and that will show up in the center gauge cluster here. Push it down for normal mode. That's just your normal everyday driving mode. Switch it over to the right once for sport, and switch it over to the right again for Sport Plus. You can notice when you do put the car and go from normal to sport, the gauge ring does turn white. I think that's a really cool touch. I like that a lot. As far as the gauges go on this car, you can control them with this little button right here. You can see the actual gauge pod slide over, which is really cool, and this gives you access to all of your multifunction controls. Audio, no messages from the vehicle, navigation. If you have a route programmed in, this will actually bring up your route and your directions for that. But if you don't, it just brings up your compass. Range, 283 miles, 21.7 miles per gallon. And when we get into the test drive portion, we'll talk about more of this and how usable it is when you're actually on the road. And then if you punch it again, it takes you back to the center screen right here, which has your engine temperature, exterior temperature, odometer, and your fuel gauge right there. And then back to the same thing. Really, really easy to use. Super, super intuitive, and very well thought out. As far as the steering wheel goes, it's very nice, very well done. It is leather wrapped. You do have color accented stitching right here, as well as perforated sections on either side of the steering wheel with your very good 10 and 2 grips. Steering wheel in this car is phenomenal. Makes it really easy to aggressively drive this car. You do have steering wheel mounted paddle shifters as well, and you do have your little F Sport badge right there, which I think is really cool. As far as materials go, everything on the dashboard is soft to the touch. This is stitched leather. This is padded up here. This is padded. All of this is padded. It's just a really nice interior. I really like this trim line running across right here. I think that adds a really upscale touch. Just a very nice interior. The second generation Lexus IS didn't have a bad interior, but the third generation absolutely blows it away. This feels just incredible. Here you have your glove box right here. The lid to it is hard to the touch, but it's very nicely grained. Opening that up reveals a decent amount of storage, and it is a smaller car, so you're not gonna have as much storage as you would in like a GS or ES or something like that, but that's to be expected when you buy a small performance sedan. Coming to your center armrest right here, it is stitched in leather. Actually, it's leatherette because None of the materials in this car are actually real leather. That's an option on the non-F-Sport cars, but the F-Sports went with a leatherette option, and I don't blame them. These seats are incredible. But we'll talk about that more once we get on the road. Opening up the center console reveals a very nice amount of storage. You've got some room for stuff in there. Also USB and aux right there. Closing that, coming over here, you do have 2 cup holders. Much better design than the second generation IS with the cup holders. You would have one like up here, and then you'd have to slide the center console back to get to the second one. It just wasn't very user intuitive. But now you have 2 actual solid cup holders. They are a tiny bit small, but this is a small car, so that's just kind of part of the territory. This right here is a harder plastic material, but very solid, doesn't feel cheap or flimsy at all, and it's very nicely grained as well. Coming over to the door panel, you do have soft to the touch materials up here, chrome door handle, power mirrors, power door locks, power window locks, and all 4 power windows. The driver's side is up and down. Actually, they're all automatic up and down. I was thinking just the driver's side was, but you learn something new every day. You do have this really nice carbon fiber like trim right here. It's got a nice depth to it. It looks really, really good. The door handle does not go all the way through, so if you need to throw your phone in there or something like that, that's a really good place to do it. All the materials on the door are soft. You have your stitched leatherette right here, stitched leatherette armrest. And I say leatherette, and that usually comes with a negative connotation, but not in this car. I would be willing to believe that this is real leather. Coming down here, you do have a water bottle storage as well as your door pocket, LED interior illumination that the owner of this car added, and your speakers for your Mark Levinson sound system. Here's your controls for your blind spot warning. It will beep when it's powered on. Here's your power trunk release, hood latch, as well as your foot actuated emergency brake. Just do it like that. Also part of the F-Sport package are these aluminum plated pedals, which look really nice. We'll go ahead and open up the trunk and open up the hood as well. Climbing out of the IS is surprisingly easy too for such a small and low car. You'd expect it to be kind of hard to do, but it's really not bad at all. Opening up the hood on this one, hood is open, opens very easily, very light. What you're seeing is a version of Toyota's 2GR-FE. It is adapted for, this version is adapted for being a rear-wheel drive model, but it's such a good motor, such good power. It has 307 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, 306 horsepower, pardon me, and 277 pound-feet of torque. And this car will move. The F-Sport versions do have an intake tube that routes intake sound into the cabin, and you can definitely hear that. We'll demonstrate that once we get on the road. But closing the hood, very easy. It is supported by struts too, which is very nice. Closes with a nice solid sound. Now coming around to the back seat on the IS, that's another area where this generation has drastically improved over the second generation. Getting in is very easy to do, and once you're in, you don't feel like you have to cut off your legs in order to fit. Footroom, there's a tiny bit that's left to be desired in the footroom department, but it's not bad. I have room for my feet to go up under the seat. My knees aren't touching. The seats are nicely sculpted so your knees will fit. And this one is set for a taller driver, so the seat's pretty far back. Headroom is really good as well. You can see I'm like about 6 feet tall. In my head, if I lean all the way back, it'll touch, but if I sit upright, it does just fine. I don't have any trouble there. You do have dual map pockets back here, very nice touch. You also have 2 air vents right here. Of course, this one does have a drive shaft tunnel, given that it is a rear-wheel drive car. You also have a stitched center armrest right here, and if you push on this right here, it will release your cup holders, just like so. Cup holders, I mean, they're a tiny bit cheap feeling, but you're not really going to be using rear cup holders all that often in a car like this, so it probably wasn't their top priority, and I completely understand that. You do have 3 individual headrests back here, also 3 individual seat belts. I would be completely comfortable back here for a long road trip, especially if it were only 2 people back here. You could fit 3, but it would be a really tight squeeze to fit 3. You'd probably want a child or something in the middle. But overall, it's not bad. Very nice room back here, and much better than the second generation. That is a huge improvement. And like I said, getting in and out is super easy as well. You have your fuel filler door right there. And then coming around to the trunk, you have a very nice amount of storage back here for such a small car, or what seems like a small car, but really they've maximized their space really well. You do have your Lexus cargo net right here, and you also have a very nice trunk liner. You do have hinges that will come down on your cargo, but at least they are guarded, so in case it does hit anything, it's not going to punch a hole in whatever you have back there. Like I said, you do have LED plate lights and your reverse backup camera right here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get some cameras set up and take it for a test drive. So starting off in the 2014 Lexus IS350, one of the very first things you'll notice about the car is, one, I'm not driving. This isn't my car, so I figured I'd let the owner drive. Some of you may recognize this car from a different channel. I'll leave that for you to figure out on your own. But the second thing you'll notice is these seats. Holy crap, these seats are fantastic. They are such phenomenal seats. I know they're not real leather. You can blame Lexus all you want for not putting real leather in here, but I blame them 0% because they're phenomenal. The material feels great, the perforation's very nice, and the side bolsters are perfect for me as an individual, and I know the owner of this car is a very big fan of the seats as well. I also like the deviated stitching a lot. I like the fact that they're heated for winter. They're just really, really good seats. Another thing you'll notice is the visibility out of here is really, really good for such a well-styled car. Super easy to see out of this car. The hood doesn't sit up high at all. You have a great view out the front. Side mirrors are nice and big, even though the objects in the mirror are always losing. Visibility out the rear is very nice as well. You do have a pretty high belt line in this car, but it doesn't really get in your way. As you all know, my daily driver is a 2007 Mustang GT, and the belt line in it is borderline so high that it does impede on your visibility a little bit, but this doesn't at all. Like it is a very nice balance between styling and usability every day. So once we get out onto the main road here, I guess we can go ahead and test out the power in a straight line a little bit. I'll let the owner be the final decision maker on that. But we'll go ahead and pop it into Sport Plus mode and manual shiftability and see how it does. So that right there was a run to about 60 miles an hour, and this car absolutely gets. It's about a 5-second 0 to 60 time, give or take, on your driving conditions and stuff like that. But it is a very, very quick car. It doesn't feel as violently fast as the Mustang does, but you look at the speedometer and you know that this is not a slow car at all. You can also hear the fantastic induction sound. I like how Lexus has integrated that a whole lot. The transmission in this car, like I said, is absolutely fantastic. But what I left. Another thing that I really like about this car is even though you can rip on it like that, it's still very nice around town. It's really quiet even on these Bridgestone summer tires. Very good tires, like I said. They absolutely grip, and there may or may not have been some tests of that. But these tires are phenomenal. I congratulate the owner on picking these because they are fantastic. Not noisy at all. They're just very easy tires to daily drive on and not loud at all. But this isn't a review of the tires, so I'm going to shut up about them. But you can see here, under just normal city driving conditions, it's really, really easy to drive. Like I said, visibility is great. Transmission shifts very smoothly when you're not ripping on it. One thing that is really cool about this transmission is when you're in normal mode, it leaves the torque converter open, but when you drop it into Sport or Sport Plus, the torque converter closes and shifts much quicker and much sharper than it does in normal mode. And I think that's really cool that Lexus, of all car brands, has developed a car that, in my opinion, outshines the F30 generation of the BMW 3 Series. As far as the E90 goes, I don't have a whole lot of experience with those, but I know they're very fantastic cars. But this is an exceptionally good handling car. It drives very well, very quiet, and just overall very nice. I wouldn't hesitate to do a cross-country road trip in this car, as the owner of it has several times.
And we all know what I owned before this, so...
Yes. The owner, he owned a 2013 BMW 328i before it came to an unfortunate end.
Fortunate.
Or as he claims, a fortunate end, because that car was not great. God, that never fails to put a smile on your face, ever. It's just so fun. I love this car. Wouldn't hesitate to buy one any day. It's just great. Very well engineered car. But like I was saying, it just amazes me that Lexus, of all car companies, has developed a car that is so sharp and quick. You know, Lexus back in their beginning days kind of was like the Japanese version of Cadillac in America. I know Cadillac has come a long way, but they used to be the big floaty barges that were quick but not overly fast and very comfortable. And this car, what's even more amazing is it still retains all of those characteristics, but you pop it into sport mode and sport plus mode and manual shiftability, and it absolutely rips. And like I said, in my opinion, outshines the F30 generation. So if there's anything you'd like to say about the car over your 20,000 miles of ownership, you're more than welcome to.
I mean, the only thing I can add is it's been perfectly reliable. Nothing's broken. And one other thing to add to the transmission, I guess we can talk about that when we do the harder driving, is it rev matches downshifts too.
Yes. Of course, this Lexus is a Toyota product, and we all know how reliable Toyota is. And even with this being a first model year redesign, this is still... This is still an exceptionally reliable car, and some American car companies, Ford, with their first model year redesigns, don't really get it right the first time, but Lexus did, and for that I say congratulations. So we'll go ahead and take a break in the filming, and we'll head out to some back roads and get some performance driving in and let you really experience how this is truly a dual purpose car. Alrighty guys, we just turned on to a curvier back road here, so we'll go ahead and pop it in Sport Plus, and you'll really get to experience how this car is truly a dual purpose car. Oh my god, I love this car! Holy crap! So as you can see, after rounding that first corner, the car, I know you can't feel it, but the car corners so flat. And it's so fast. The numbers themselves may not sound like a whole lot to you, but this car absolutely scoots. Whatever Toyota did with this motor, they did it right. Oh, God, this thing's good.
That was such a blind hill.
That was a really blind hill. So as you can hear, I love the sound of the F-Sport intake. They did a really good job dialing in just the right amount of sound. I would like to hear it with the F-Sport exhaust, but I think how it sounds now is really, really great too. Yeah, we might need to do that. So as you guys can tell, this car is so quick. And another thing that's really nice when you have a quick car is quick brakes. And these are certainly good. They're designed by Brembo, and Brembo did a good job with them. The rotors on this one have been resurfaced, and I think it's had new pads put on it, whatever the dealer decided to do, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was about a month ago. Or 2 months now.
and these brakes grab. They are so good, and now that we're kind of getting to put these tires through the test, they're really good, like I was saying. One thing that's really cool about this transmission too is the rev match downshifts.
We'll have to do it in a second.
Yeah, well,
the car's being a dick. Okay,
yeah.
Wait, hold on. There we go. Fourth gear. It's not a cop, is it?
I don't know what that is.
No, it's just a sensor. There we go.
There we go. So as you can see, it does really good rev match downshifts, and as you could probably hear, if the car knows that it can't downshift,
It'll just beep.
It'll just beep at you. And while it is a little bit frustrating, it's trying to keep itself from blowing itself up. So I can appreciate that. So we'll go ahead and really get it around this corner. And the seats and the suspension are doing such a good job of keeping us where we're supposed to be.
The steering's really neutral. It is electric power steering, so you don't have much feel. So that's kind of an issue with everything with electric power steering, but the weighting and the response is really good.
It is. I've personally driven this car, but you can see why I'm not driving it on this road if I don't want to hurt it. Good God, that's fun. I wish I could talk more, guys, but I just can't help but have this huge smile on my face and be speechless. But this car is so good at everything. He's taken it on, I don't know how many
road trips?
Yeah, on how many long road trips, and he says it doesn't even make him feel tired, and I completely believe that, because this isn't a car that stresses you out. It's so well behaved. The chassis is so sorted out, the engine's so good, the transmission's phenomenal, the seats are great, the interior room is great. I just have no words for this car. For something like this to come out of Lexus, like back in the day, Lexus used to be the Japanese Cadillac, if you will, but they've so changed. It's not the Japanese Cadillac anymore. They don't build big floaty barges. This is a scalpel. It is so good. If there's anything you want to add to it, I mean, please.
I don't know, other than the fact that I pretty much rip on this car almost 24/7 every time I'm driving, and I'm just pretty much driving it hard, like it's meant to be driven, and it's just super fun. I think this is the biggest surprise for me ever, because I was not expecting. I mean, I found this car just test driving it on a whim. I wasn't ever expecting to buy one, but here we are. That's all I could say.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to say any more than that. Like, that's all. Like, if this car you're not considering at all, and then you just go drive it because you're bored and you're in the market for a car, and you end up buying one, that says a lot about this car, and it says a lot about what Lexus has done. Such a great car. The chassis is so good. Suspension's very good. It's really nice and floaty in normal mode like we're in right now. Not floaty, but it's very soft, very forgiving. And
the road's a little rough, so the tire noise is kind of high right now, but
yeah,
it's not the car.
But then you pop it into Sport Plus, and the suspension firms up. That is part of the F Sport package. It gives you adaptive suspension on the IS350. The IS250 does not come with adaptive suspension if you opt for the F Sport, but on the 350s it does, and I think that alone is reason enough to go with the 350.
And I'm not sure if adaptive suspension is coming to the 200 turbo, but that I had to look at the spec sheet for that one.
Exactly. Like, I know the 200 turbo is coming out, and I know it's going to be replacing the 2.5 liter V6, but I still would buy the IS350. This is such a rev happy car, feels so great, and I would buy one in a heartbeat. So if you're in the market for a rear-wheel drive sports sedan, you probably know about cars, and you probably like them, and you probably like to drive your cars, as both myself and the owner of this one do. And do yourself a favor and please test drive one of these if you're in the market. The new IS is a phenomenal car. It's in its 3rd generation now, and I think 3rd time is the charm for this car. Just do yourself a favor and drive one. Drive the S4, drive the 335i, drive the IS350, and probably in the F Sport. I think that's when this car really comes into its own. So that's really all I can say. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's been something a little bit different, and it's been an absolute pleasure to experience this car over the weekend and just have a ton of fun. And I know that if you end up buying one of these cars, you're gonna have a ton of fun too. So like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed. That's pretty much it for this video, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.